Boom! So here we are, Jared Wihongi. Ladies and gentlemen, man, 94 to 96, I lived in the Philippines and was introduced to the Filipino martial arts. And the Filipino martial arts, if you're not familiar with it, you know, they go by the name of Kali, Eskrima, Arnis, different names, but all interrelated. And they're very weapon-centric, very focused on blades, impact weapons. You begin your training with weapons, and then you evolve later on into empty hand evolutions and so on and so forth. A lot of the statistics and whatnot, but there's a lot of bleed over. A lot of the statistics are going to be relevant to a civilian environment. I use a lot of international because I teach in a lot of different countries, and I use and I see a lot of commonalities. Okay, other countries, they have different firearms laws. They have different types of threats that may be more prevalent versus what we face here, but there's a lot of universalities when it comes to combatives and self-defense, right? So if you look at martial arts in general, you know, you've got sport martial artists and you've got people that focus more on combatives, but most of it is really a big crossover, right? There's tweaks you got to make tactically in one versus the other, but a lot of those fundamental skill sets are going to be the same. Same thing with shooting. And the reason why I'm showing you this is my take and my philosophy on being a good protector. Okay, being a good protector, you should, at a minimum, have some knowledge in the different areas of close combat. Okay, and I'll kind of explain what I mean by that. But the different dynamics, whether it be armed or unarmed. Okay, the first portion here is before close combat even begins. Have I been successful in potentially even avoiding the things that are avoidable, right? Situational awareness and the ability to avoid bad places, bad situations, bad people, right? There's something I always tell people, the fight that you will always survive is the one that you've been able to avoid altogether. Now, sometimes action just becomes unavoidable. Things just happen and you gotta be prepared for them. And every combative situation will begin with some kind of action or reaction, all right? Action may be, for example, if I'm a police officer and I need to take this individual into custody, he's under arrest, I gotta take him into custody. Rather than waiting for him to do something to me, I gotta act on him before he's able to do something. So I may be acting on that individual. In a self-defense situation, this may be preemptive action, right? I've seen the pre-attack indicators. I know what this person's about to do and I don't wait for it, right? And this is what we'll call oftentimes the combat principle, the counter on motion, on movements before the attack time, right? Chance of gunshot survival based on their statistics was 85%, okay? Chance of a knife attack survival, 65%, okay? So you're less likely to survive an edge weapon assault than a firearms assault, okay? Firearms injury. Aggressive action by a determined adversary can only be stopped reliably and immediately by a shot that disrupts the brain or upper spinal cord. Even the most disruptive heart wound cannot be relied upon to terminate aggression before 10 to 15 seconds have elapsed. Okay. So this is an important statistic again, at close quarter survival. When you're talking about close quarters, right? The faster you can neutralize that threat, the less likely that an individual is going to be able to hurt you or another person. So if I'm just going to use for illustrative purposes, if Kenny he puts his right leg forward, right, and reaches that knife out towards me, and in most knife fighting arts, that people will train with the weapon side forward, okay, which is a little bit different than a lot of empty hand orthodox type fighting arts where your dominant hand is back. And the reason of that, if you just kind of think about fencing, right, and Olympic fencing, right, are they fencing like this or like this, right? The weapon is forward, okay? It's a single-handed edge weapon, and anything else other than the weapon is just a target.
Boom! And if you have been enjoying that quick clip, just know that you can now get access to the Protector Symposium library. So if you went to one of them and you loved what you experienced, you can now watch all of the replays of all of the events at the Protector Symposium library. If you missed that Protector Symposium and you want to watch the replay and you want to learn from these guys, go to protectornation.com, download the replay, and improve your PQ, your protection quotient. Protectornation.com, that's where we're all gathering. Join the nation, but most importantly, get the information that these elite subject matter experts give to us during these events. Don't miss it. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the next video out there training. Let's make the world a safer place by helping good people become more dangerous. Out.